Micah Kaiser's leading the league in tackles. Been very productive. He had big shoes to fill. What's made him as effective as he's been?
The biggest thing for him, having sat in the meeting room, behind a guy like Henry Coley that played, and Daquan Romero is now a GA for. So there's a lot of recall. There's a lot of and Mike is a smart player. I believe he's one of the nation's leaders, not only in total tackles but also in solo tackles. And so his ability to be a smart player, and recall, and then having now played the games that he has given him an opportunity to help us defensively. So it's a credit to him, but it's a credit to the people that were before him, and having a guy, like I said, like Daquan in the locker room, in the meeting rooms, because he just played last year himself.
During Syracuse week, you talked a little bit that Syracuse would show an element of some option. I don't think they showed a whole lot of it. It's more that speed option type of thing. You face this Georgia Tech option every year. How much of a challenge is it this year when you have a couple of linebackers who haven't really faced it? I know Bradshaw made that start against these guys a couple of years ago, but really never got his feet wet against it.
Again, as we all know, it's an offense that grinds up a lot of time. Their running back is a guy that's averaging, the young man, he's a true freshman, I believe, Marcus Marshall, is averaging 8 yards per carry, almost 9 yards per carry. It's an offense that has wide splits. It's an offense that you have to, tackle your threat, whether it's to dive the quarterback or the option. And then, Coach Johnson's been running this offense forever. As soon as you start to do certain things, and they'll come back with the counter option or quick sweeps or play action passes. So they've done a really good job of just doing what they've done over the years. And I know when we played them last year, up until going into the fourth quarter, I believe there was about maybe 200 or less than 200 total yards there. Then they had an explosive final quarter. So we're going to have to just make sure that this is an option, responsibility-oriented approach for us. It's a responsibility-oriented defense, and then the execution of it is going to be critical.
Coach, I know 2-5 isn't exactly where you guys want to be, but at 1-2 in the ACC, still 5 games to go. I mean, you feel like there's still a good amount to play for at this point?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you look at the situation that we're in, 1-2 in the ACC. There's 2 other teams behind us. One's 1-3, one's 1-4. We've played the 2 6-1 teams right now currently in the ACC. 3 of our last 5 games are home games, and I believe 3 of the last 5 teams are teams that are 500 or less. So, again, there's still opportunities out there that this team can achieve. There's still games to be played. There's still games to be won, and individuals, playmaking, coaching, things like that to improve, to allow this team, to reach that type of success. And so our players are very much in tune to that. And it's, again, we talk about coach speak all the time, but definitely for us, the one game at a time mentality, this one game is the next most important game for us, because it's a Coastal Conference game. It's a chance, to go 2-2 in our conference play. It's a chance to add to another win to total, the 6 opportunities, that you have. So there's so many things that are still on the table there for us, and then we're going to have to, like I say, play our best, coach our best to achieve those things. But it's nonetheless achievable.
Coach, you guys I think your opponents are a combined 26-7. You were talking earlier about how you faced the 2 6-1 ACC teams. How big would a win against Georgia Tech and getting back to 500 in the ACC be for the psyche of this team going forward? No,
it's big. And as I said, you can look at where we are, and you can talk about what's going on. Again, the reality of it is, in the ACC we're 1-2. And we have a home game against a very good Georgia Tech team that, for whatever reason, whatever they were suffering from beforehand, they put a game together that beat Florida State. And, the ability to go 2-2 in the Coastal at home and then continue some momentum from that is important. As I said, this game is the next most important game for us, because again, we just talked about the different elements of who we play, when we play them, where they are right now, where we are. You just have to make sure you're bringing your A game every time, and that's important for us.
What was your reaction to that final play in Florida State, Georgia Tech the other day? And do you hesitate if you're in the same situation to try a field goal in that situation?
You're just watching it unfold like everybody else when you're a fan, And I saw Coach Johnson, let it go because normally it's if you block it and it goes beyond, you let it go. It's the last play of the game, and the young man there had the wherewithal to pick it up, and I guess he saw green grass, and and he returned it. It speaks to the other side of it, that at least you cover it. That if it's blocked and you see a guy going towards it to pick it up, then to cover it. But this scenario, most teams, people teach get away from it, and then that's it, and you go into overtime. But there's been some strange finishes in college football. Obviously our triple overtime, one up in Blacksburg, quadruple or whatever it is for overtime, and just last play scenarios in these different games in college football that have occurred. That it's been really, it's been something that's bizarre, but at the same time, it's such a fine line between winning and losing.
30 touches for Smoke this past game. Is there a number out there that you would want him to touch the ball? And as far as he was returning, I guess, some early this season, do you take him off that duty because he's getting the balls so much elsewhere?
We started out with him getting as many touches as possible, which involved the kicking game. Smoke is, arguably, is our best offensive player, I would say, in that he's our most explosive. He had a great game running the football. He's the type of guy that can also you can flare out and get the ball out to him as a running back. I believe he's, again, whether he's fourth in the ACC in receptions, but he's first in the country as a running back with receptions. And it's important that the amount of touches that we give him, we continue to keep doing it with the screens, the flares, all different kind of ways. We're trying to get other guys opportunities to get touches. One of them is like TJ Thorpe. What you saw this game, he returned kickoffs, and they had 5 touchbacks, and he had one opportunity to return the ball. TJ was also involved in our special teams unit. One of the things that we did pretty well was to limit Schweitzer, as I said before. TJ was involved in the 2 tackles down there that because they tried to hold him up the line of scrimmage, and like a wide receiver getting off a jam, he was able to defeat it and made some pretty good plays down there. So finding touches for Smoke is going to be depend upon the rest of the crew as well. Kanan, Alameda, TJ. But we have recognized and we do see the value of what Smoke brings to overall offensive unit.
Coach, we've talked about obviously the importance of this game upcoming, but what do you think the keys are for you guys to actually come away with the victory?
This is an offense, again, we'll time of possession, we'll grind up the clock, and they'll go for it on 4th downs, and so it's important that our opportunities that we're on the defensive side of it, that we do play, assignment-oriented football. And on the other side is when we have our possessions, is that we take care of our possessions that ends up in scoring opportunities. One of the positive things for us is that when we get down to the red zone, that we are pretty efficient in the red zone. On the other side, defensively, when teams get down in the red zone, we are pretty efficient in red zone defense as well. So it's important that when we do have the ball, that we advance the ball to the opportunities to score points. And knowing that, from their standpoint, they will hang on to the ball, go for it on 4th down, use up a lot of clock. So it's going to be important that both sides operate in our strengths from that standpoint. And then the kicking game perhaps be one of the game changers as well.
Back to the facing the triple option, do you worry at all when you have, obviously Micah, you said, has been around a lot of experience, but, last year Georgia Tech you had 3 really experienced linebackers and they had some big plays on you. Is it a little more worrisome when you're up against some less experienced guys facing that look?
Well, it's always, you always worry about the issue of taking your assignment, doing your job in this particular matter. I thought it's not an option in this type of offensive attack, because they are proficient in what they do in their reads. If you're closing to the dive, then make sure you take the dive. Don't all of a sudden, think the quarterback wasn't going to give the guy the ball, and all of a sudden you pop up, take the quarterback, but the ball's been handed off. And they're really good at reading those type of things. There's all kind of schemes you try to do defensively that obviously you can tell that they've seen almost everything, almost every defense has been designed for it. So, again, for us, it's the fine tuning and the discipline of playing your position or playing your technique that's warranted. And so if we're going to have success, then we need to have the type of success guys doing their job.